What's happening, Dolphins fans, and welcome to another episode of the Fins Tailgate with your host, El Capitan. The Dolphins hire a new defensive coordinator, and I guess we're just going to get into it. A little bit of a bio on the guy, kind of feel him out. How do you guys feel? That's what I want to know. I'm a little indifferent to it. I'm not going to judge it too hard, but, we're going to get into that and talk some other stuff. On the way in, guys, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to get right into it.
Turner Yell makes the stop in the secondary for Denver. 1st and 10. The fake. Good block in there, and down it goes. Caught at the 30. This is the dynamic throw. He's in for 6. Tyreek Hill. Touchdown. What a block.
Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower, scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder, and f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off, it's these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve it now. It's only worth it if you work for it.
What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome to another episode of the Fins Tailgate with your host, El Capitan. Yes, I see the chat. Hello, everybody. Hit the like button on the way in. Appreciate you guys. Dolphinier, King Mill, Doll, I see you. What's happening? And then John, what's going on, John? Freaking Michael K. Breaking news maybe 8 hours ago. Listen, bro. Fuck off. That's what I got. 72, what's going on? Josh Allen, the next Elway. Hello. So hit the like button on your way in, everybody. I don't know, man. Like, who is Anthony Weaver, right? To me, I kind of understand the hire in a sense that we have this whole youth movement. Mike McDaniel is 40 years old now, or gonna be. Anthony Weaver's only 44. By all accounts, he's a player's coach type of thing. Yada yada yada. It's just this. I get that, I guess. I still think we should have had an old head up in here personally. Just saying. Our coach is still a young guy. He's still got some adjustments problems, I think, in his game, in his play calling. I think he's also got some preparation problems at time. He's coached in a playoff game. It didn't really go that well. There's still a lot of learning there. It would have been nice to have a guy that had a little bit more experience coming in here opposite of the coach, but that's not what this organization wants to build. They want a young guy, and I hear people out there saying, "Oh, well, they're getting a young guy so he can be here for a long time." Da da da. I don't think that's the case, honestly. To me, things go well, and they should. Unless this guy Weaver is an absolute dud, because Dolphins have a top 10 defense. And they got better as the year went on and guys went down with injury. It's pretty good as far as what you can expect if you were going to be a new defensive coordinator somewhere. You're not in a shit show situation. You got a good offense that puts up points. So it forces their offense to have to keep up in certain games, which helps you with play calling on defense. And this Dolphins defense was good last year. Like I said, top 10. It has me, wondering that if this guy who got a couple of looks at head coach, and this is only his second stint at being a defensive coordinator in his career. He's always been on the defense. The guy used to play defense, which I'm going to get into all that. He used to be on the Baltimore Ravens as a second-round pick. For all you guys that didn't know, he was a football player, a guy, which probably helps out a lot with the respect in the guys in the locker room. Also probably would help out a lot with relation and that kind of stuff and yada, yada, yada. But as far as a play caller on a defense, there's limitations there. Now, with the Ravens, he was an assistant head coach, which is kind of nice, but he's an assistant head coach, and the Ravens defensive coordinator leaves and takes the Seattle job, and they didn't promote Anthony Weaver to the DC. They promoted McDonald, or whatever the hell his name is. So I don't know. It's just, which I'm happy to have the guy. I'm willing to see what he's got and what he's capable of as a play caller, as a leader on defense. There is some question what kind of changes is he going to make? Is he going to keep guys like Anthony Campanelli? Is he going to Sam Madison? What if he doesn't want Sam Madison on his defensive staff? We lost our safeties coach. He went to Philadelphia with Fan Man. Does Ronaldo Hill? I could go into all that speculation. We could really dive into that. That's going to play itself out. What kind of defense is he going to run? Is he going to run a 3-4? Is he going to run that Baltimore defense, which is a 3-4 hybrid defense? Gives a lot of 4-3 looks. It's kind of what we had on the front, but they play a lot of man coverage and inside zone coverage on their with their safeties. They like to play them in between the blocks, so they push the man-to-man coverage with their better corners on the outside, and let those guys go to work. So is this going to be what we can expect out of the defense? I don't know. It's a different hire, and the guy's been getting so many looks from head coaching. I know he went and interviewed for the Falcons head coaching job. I forget what other one he went and interviewed, but he's a guy that if you're looking at what, if I was just going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to take myself as a Dolphins fan and just observe the Anthony Campanelli situation, right? Assistant head coach with the Ravens. The defensive coordinator gets a head coaching job. He probably did some interviews at head coaching jobs, but realized that, him having limited experience as a play caller, you got to kind of think, what does the organizations that are purchasing want, right? That, every guy that comes in is either a defensive guru, offensive guru, or whatever. The only thing on Anthony Weaver's resume as a defensive play caller was back when on the Houston Texans, and it was a terrible year. I think they won 5 games that year or something stupid. It was terrible. Granted, I'm not going to hold that against them. Their team was devoid of talent. J.J. Watt was on the back end of his career. The whole nines. I don't want to say he even got injured that year. But all of that stuff probably was coming up in his interview process, going around to, try to become a head coach. And they're like, yeah, his people are probably like, you need a year as a DC. Well, you didn't get the DC job with the Ravens. So you need to kind of go out there and see if you can find a DC job somewhere. And the Miami Dolphins gave him the shot, which, fine, good, but with a top 10 defense that he's inheriting, a defense that some of the biggest stars, actually I would say most of the biggest stars, were injured at one point and missed multiple games, down to even Jalen Ramsey, who didn't start this season. Still a top 10 defense. You're going to get a lot of those guys back. There's going to be some turnover on the roster, obviously, but the Dolphins will accommodate some of that stuff. If he comes in and delivers a top 10 defense, again, which shouldn't be that impossible, right? You get a top 10 defense. I'm going to leave you with a top 10 defense. Does he then use that to springboard to a head coaching job next year? Just a 1-year rental? Are we going to be dealing with this same thing next year? Now, if we were an organization of the ilks of the Chiefs or Baltimore, even for that matter, look at the Ravens right now. The Ravens coaching staff is getting picked off by everybody around the NFL. Everybody wants a piece of that Ravens coaching staff, whether you're a DC, a position guy, a head coach, whatever. They're getting picked off. But I know one thing about the Ravens organization. They're going to endure. They develop talent in the coaching as well as talent on the field. And they're going to be all right losing these coaches. The Dolphins are constantly looking for coaches, constantly not all right when they fire one or get one or it's only a placeholder. Who's the next guy in line? You know, I'm just worried about being here next year. Hopefully, the guy sticks around for 2 years. Chances are if he's sticking around for 2 years, it's because of failure, not because of success. You see what I'm saying? I know I'm kind of a stick in the mud, but fuck you guys. How about that? Hit the like button on the way in, everybody. So, yeah, I don't know. So, Anthony Weaver, coaching staff, been coaching in the NFL since 2012. He's coached with the Browns, which is where him and Mike McDaniel both coached the same time there at the Browns. That's how they kind of know each other. I get that the Dolphins organization and brass and beat writers, everything, that's the connection. That's why this guy won and not Frazier. Or that's why the Dolphins liked him more than guys that took jobs otherwhere, because him and Mike McDaniel used to, sit down together and talk to each other as young guys over lunch in Cleveland. Fucking stupid. I get it. They want to always puff piece some nonsense. But I don't know. I don't think that's the reason why. But anyhow, he also was with the Bills, the Ravens, Texans, and the Jets. He went to Notre Dame. He was drafted in the second round by the Baltimore Ravens in 2002. He was 52nd overall. He started 54 regular season games as well as one playoff game during his tenure, and he signed as a free agent with the Houston Texans in 2006. Where he spent 3 seasons with the Texans, where he started all 44 games, which then that was the end of his career. And then in 2012, he got into coaching, and the rest is history. So there is, I do like that the guy has been on the field. I do like that the guy has been a player. There's video of him going around hitting the sleds with the defensive guys. And I'm like, yeah, that guy hit sleds his whole friggin' life. You know what I'm saying? So there is something about that. He's got some bullet experience, for lack of a better term. He's been there when the bullets are flying. So that's good. There's also, what was I going to get into? I guess if I'm trying not to, I want to give the information, right? But you gotta kind of sift through the stuff. I can give you the information about Anthony Weaver, and which kind of sounds like that politician that got in trouble for showing his wiener. But the guy really, in a lot of ways, is very unproven. It's very unproven. This is not, look, it's not like last offseason when we let go of Boyer and it was obvious Boyer was the sacrificial lamb, right? And yeah, okay, there was some shortcomings and we could see the things that with Boyer, but who knows? He could have been better in the second year. But upgrading from Boyer to Fangio was like, duh. If Fangio got fired from the Dolphins, right? If the Dolphins brass said, this guy, we're firing him, which kind of is the case, and we're insert Anthony Weaver, the guy is wildly unproven compared to the hire we had the following season. A hire that, by all accounts, was the right hire, right? Top 10 defense, decimated by injury, Guy was able to persevere. But the real problem with the Fangio wasn't his results, because results are only half of what the Dolphins organization really wants, right? He just didn't. We didn't like him. We didn't vibe, right? I mean, I got a job. There's a bunch of people that work with me. I don't vibe with everybody, but I'm not throwing them under the bus. If their results aren't affecting mine, I like them. I don't need to vibe with everybody around me. Now, okay, maybe I do in certain situations, like us here at the tailgate. I vibe with all my guys who all vibe together. But that's a little different. This is a tight-knit thing. We're talking about it's going to take multiple people to get something done. It's going to take a mishmash, a ordeal of people. If they're all vibing together and everybody's on the same page, that's a good thing. But it's not what matters most. What matters most is the results. The results. I could dislike a person in every which way that they personally do their life. He's a scumbag. He don't spend time with his kids. He's a dirtball. He cheats on his old lady. I don't like this guy in any way, shape, and form. But when it comes to where my interaction has to happen, I would never hang out with this person that I'm trying to give this example of, right? But if my interaction with him in a professional basis is the guy is getting it done, then I don't give a shit about that other stuff. Meanwhile, that's kind of the deal around here. If everybody's going out to the freaking pool hall, and if you're not showing up and playing pool with everybody, you're talked about behind your back, and it's clicked up here in Miami. And I mean, that goes with a lot of places, but I don't know, man. I would give me the old man that ain't going and playing pool, that's got a file cabinet the size of a freaking someone's 2-car garage filled with knowledge, that is here to just do his job and go home. I don't need to be buddies. I don't need to be his friend. I'm friendly with everyone because it's the right thing to do, and I'm just that kind of way. But I don't need approval. Why do the Dolphins brass and coaching staff and players need approval from each other? Do your damn job. Do it well. You'll have everyone's approval. Win football games. Results-based business. Tired of all these feelings, bro. I see the chat, man. It's so freaking amazing to me. Dolphins fans, you guys are like scorned lovers, bro. You guys are like scorned lovers. It's amazing. It's like you can't just be real about stuff. It's that bitch, that 2-timing hoe. You know what I'm saying? You gotta hate on him. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Meanwhile, here are the Dolphins fans cursing the existence of Fangio, right? While on the flip side, over in Philadelphia, they're rolling out the red carpet and the parade for him. It's just hilarious to me. It's hilarious. It's one man's trash is another man's treasure, I know, Ronnie, you love your team so much that you hate them. I get it. I got it. I understand that. But, I had this analogy my last show the other day about us fans need to do a better job not treating this team like our children, not treating this organization like our children. We got to remember, we're paying for all this nonsense, right? We're sacrificing our time, our energy, our sanity, right? We got to be a little bit more honest with ourselves about that. Our kid might be the bad kid in class. Our kid might be the class clown. A lot of you people were the bad kid in school, were the kid getting in trouble, the class clown, and you self-admitted it. So remember, when your parents were standing up for you, being a little shithead, now that you're an adult, you think different. And we got to understand that this team is being little shitheads a lot. Right? Right? I don't have to realize it, Q. I'm trying to help them realize it, dog. I've known this. I'm able to play the game. This is what you guys want to know what El Capitan does best in this program, in this show, in this. Oh man, certainly isn't my hair. What I do best is I'm able to play into others' delusions. I will play into the delusions of the fan base and everything. I will say this. I am not impervious to the mega media hype machine that is being a fan of something, right? I'll get wrapped up. I'll get wrapped up. I'll get hemmed up a little bit, right? I'll be like, yeah, this is the greatest football team ever. Meanwhile, it's kind of not, right? It's kind of not. It's kind of not the greatest football team ever. It's kind of a team on a tear against bad opponents. Greatest football team ever drops a 40 burger or a 50 sub or a 70 filet mignon on fucking Baltimore, right? Or, edge out wins. You stomp the best teams. That's the greatest team ever. So, I love this football team. I will go to bat for it. I will never be against it. But just like I love my children, I won't stand for bad grades. I won't stand for, cruelty or bad behavior that is unbecoming to what I will represent me when I'm not around. Right? I love him. I'll defend him. Shit, I'll murder a whole swath. The vile things I would do for my own kids. But I won't do it unjustifiably. Unjustifiably. First thing my kid says, I got detention or I got in trouble. What do you do? Not, why'd they do that to my baby? I ain't that guy. I ain't that way. And neither is my wife. Hell nah. You can't split sympathy up between us when you're in the wrong. Me and her work as a team like that. And that's what I want with my relationship with my Dolphins fans. That we love this team. We are going to support the right things, be critical, and have realistic expectations on the wrong things. And be quite honest. My son ain't winning no marathons. Not me neither. He ain't running, through whatever. I'm not going to be pissed at him when he gets winded. He was born, had asthma and stuff like that. He's kind of growing out of it now, but I understand his limitations. But when he's playing football and, laying the wood and he's like, and he's kind of quitting crying, I ain't letting that be his limitations either. I kick him in his ass and say, you go out there and put the boom out there. And you know what happened? He does. He does. Because my daddy did the same to me. Quit and failure ain't in me. It ain't in this franchise. Shouldn't be anyhow. That's what it is. This is a thing that I think we need to correct together. We need to stop the infighting, which is fine. I think it's fine to troll and have a good time. And sometimes there's going to be disagreements, and I think that those need to be worked out. But for the totality of the franchise, of the fan base, we need to stick together that, yes, we love this team. We support this team. We buy their gear. We go to their games. We make their content. For real. Make this content. I've been doing this over 2 years. I would say the amount of time in which we've been on the monetization is maybe a quarter of that. We've got, between me and all my guys that are on this program, we've got tens of thousands of hours of made content and watched content just for Dolphins. They ain't paying us nothing, and I don't need them to. I love them. Proud to be a Dolphins fan, right? But I'm not gonna lie to myself, and I'm not gonna let us lie to each other to protect a lie that's only gonna make it harder to achieve our goals. So, back to this guy, Anthony Weaver. Listen, maybe homie's the OG, right? Maybe he comes in. Maybe he's got 2 or 3 guys he's thinking of in position coaches. You know, better have a safety coach somewhere, and has an idea of how and what he wants to do with this team. I sure hope so, because there's a lot of decisions that the defensive coordinator needs to get on and get on yesterday. Do we keep Christian Wilkins? Do we let go of Xavier Howard as a post-June 1st cut? Do we go to the table with these guys, one or both, and try to figure things out? Jerome Baker. Do they try to get Jerome Baker? Do we get some of these Raven free agents? They got, I can't say the dude's name, the defensive tackle. I can't. I'm not even going to try. They also got Queen. I like that dude, Queen. He plays hard-nosed. Then there's another underlying question here, right? This guy, Anthony Weaver, coming from a Baltimore Ravens background. Ravens known for their tough mentality, tough everything, right? Is that type of toughness not going to be welcomed here in Miami? Serious question. I'm looking at you, chat. Is Miami willing to adopt a hard-nosed, 3 clouds of dust type of football mindset, be coached hard? Are players then going to complain? You know, I'm not vibing with him. He's, riding me, and I don't like that. I don't think I deserve to be rid like that. I'm asking. I don't know. I don't know if this team vibes, right? Nene asked a good question. Will Weaver be able to have his own staff? I think he's going to. How about this, Nene? Does Weaver even have a staff to call upon, right? Is there guys willing to follow this dude? Uproot their families for a potential 1-year situation? I mean, a coach's life is such. These guys have to, consistently move all over the place. But is Anthony Weaver a guy who has a coaching staff? It was a big question when we hired Mike McDaniel. Who's Mike McDaniel's coaching staff? I'll say this. I was wildly impressed with the offensive coaching staff he was able to install shortly after he was hired. All the way from guys like Wes Welker, and even defensively who he brought around, right? I don't know. Is Anthony Weaver looking at the Dolphins situation as a potential better situation for him, realizing that if he would have taken a head coaching job, per se, let's say the head coaching job was on the table at for the Falcons for Weaver, right? Who's he going to hire as his staff? Because that staff needs an overhaul if I've ever seen, right? Especially on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe Weaver said to himself, look, Dolphins have kind of a lot of position coaches. I only need to get a couple of guys. I can get over there. If he leaves and becomes a head coach, is he taking a bunch of dudes with him from our situation? Right? I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that so much next year, but I will be paying close attention again to why the Dolphins chose Anthony Weaver over a Brandon Staley. Leslie Frazier they missed. But all these guys that they missed on, and I don't care what you say. You could say, oh, the Dolphins didn't pick them. That ain't how it looks to me, bro. Dolphins didn't get picked. We went out asking out dates for the prom, and, it was like that scene from Forrest Gump. You can't sit here. Seats taken. Seats taken. You can't sit here. That's kind of what happened to us in this search. I feel like, and it might be because the Dolphins are saying, listen, our coaching staff on defense, we want to retain for the majority. That's how it's going to look and feel to me if Anthony Weaver comes here and, hires one or two dudes and everyone else just stays the same, which I'm not opposed to, right? Top 10 defense. Holla for $1. Can't sit here. Seats taken. I know. I ain't never had no friends. Fuck, dude, I could slay the Forrest Gump voice. My kids make me do it all the time. But, again, all of my creative focus is now having to be on the defense. And that's why I'm very frustrated. Because to me, the defense isn't and wasn't the problem. And because just of getting healthier, and if they would have kept man, chat's throwing me off, bro. Jeez, Ian is a pig. Fuck. If they would have kept Fangio, then I could be focusing on the things I believe that are the problems in this. Is this a Dolphins podcast? Because yeah, listen, it is a Dolphins podcast, and I don't not allow negativity. I will fight back against it, but I also have negativity myself. If you're a lifelong Dolphins fan like myself, I'm sorry, you got negativity, dog. There's stuff to be negative about. So anyhow, and chat has got me distracted. I get it. Thick chicks, holla. All right. Just more to love. That's all I heard. Just more to love. But now that we're concentrating on this defensive everything, from the cap situation on which players are going to be kept or released, hopefully, some of these guys from that are scheme fits and could be, cap friendly for us, follow Weaver over here. But who's to say they're not going to follow homeboy to Seattle, right? Yeah, there's none of that anymore, Dan the man. We're on shaky ground every year in this organization. That's the deal. I mean, look, Anthony Weaver, I don't see how it's not a 1-year rental. The only way that it isn't maintaining as a 1-year rental would be if we're in some type of situation where Mike McDaniel's head is on the chopping block and they're going to have an internal hire, oh, God. Or they, Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat and Anthony Weaver says, hey, maybe I could stay here. I could be the interim head coach next year if they fire him midseason if it doesn't work out. There's that whole behind-the-scenes thing that could be a long play for these guys. We got to remember, man, these dudes, they're competitors and they've got goals too. Players, what's a player's goal? Get paid, right? Win games, but get paid. Then once you're getting paid, then it might be about championships or fame or infamy, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I am perturbed that the Dolphins didn't bring Leslie Frazier and make that happen. To me, that was the move. Because you're going to be in a 1-year rental type of situation. Brandon Staley, to me, is a guy who I don't know. I don't know what the fuck his deal is, honestly. I know the Chargers He had full control over everything, especially with the defense, and he had talent, and they sucked. I saw that guy take a team that progressively got worse and worse and worse every freaking week with him around. Where what was the guy that was the head coach before Anthony, whatever his name was? Oh, man, what was the coach's name before Staley, guys? Well, King Mill asks, El Cap, question for you. Do you think the Dolphins players on defense are stuck in their ways already? And they may reject good coaching again. Anthony Lynn, thank you, Hal. I'll answer that in just a second, King Mill. But Anthony Lynn's team, hard-nosed, nobody liked him, kind of what King Mill's question's about, was mean to the quarterback. But guess what? That team won. Team won a lot of football. And to me, Brandon Staley coasted off of the offense at the very minimum. And then while he just continued to tinker with the defense and destroy it. So, I don't know. That's why Staley wasn't a guy I wanted. I could have understood it because it's kind of a, hey, we're going to run it back with a younger guy, and that's how they would sell it. But I didn't want Staley. I wanted Frazier. To me, it's a 1-year rental with Frazier and probably Weaver and a few of the other candidates that were on there outside of Anthony Campanelli, to me, which would have been terrible. Not that Anthony Campanelli couldn't be or won't be a good coach, but I don't know. Like, what the fuck? But Leslie Frazier, a 1-year rental, I would have rather have had that. But as for the tough coaching question, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the case, right? You got to remember, this team, to me, has a little bit of an attitude problem. People are going to lose their jobs. People are going elsewhere. You get rid of Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, and Xavier Howard, right? Bradley Chubb and Phillips are all injured. That is 5 key guys that you're going to roll out week 1 without. 5 key dudes. I mean, there's a lot of talk of Cam Smith, this Ethan Bonner kid, who I thought looked pretty good. There's going to be a battle for that position. We still got Cater Kohu. There will still be Jalen Ramsey. But I remember Jalen Ramsey really wanting to come here because he and Xavier Howard are best buddies. I remember when that was the case, right? He wanted to play on the same team with his best friend, and they were going to be the great duo together. I remember that. You let go of all these guys. This team has an attitude problem. What's to say that they don't feel some kind of way about it? Right? What's to say that they're not feeling some kind of way about losing their friends around here? Or they see this turnover and they think, man, I got to worry about me because the Dolphins aren't worrying about me. They had that whole situation. Will they be coached hard? Will they like it? I don't think so, man. I'm not saying that these guys aren't coached hard. I just wonder about the mentality of all that stuff. And what I said before on previous shows, the leader. Who's the leader? Who's in charge? Who's the guy that when the chips are down, the bullets are flying, and, you can't get nothing going, that everyone's looking to step up and say, we need to stop. This ain't Miami Dolphin football. Defense, we need to do this. Offense, we're going to get you the ball back. You need to score. And everyone's juiced. Where's that guy at? Cap, after our defense kicking rocks and celebrating a legend leaving the building, what makes you think he wanted to coach him? You know what? There was a little bit of a story about that. Javon Holland said that he wasn't kicking the rocks about that, but I find that to be a little bullshit. I think he was doing it about it. I think that was the whole point, and that's it. I think he's just walking it back a little bit. But I don't know. Maybe he didn't want the job. Maybe Frazier was like, yeah, I saw how you did the last homeboy. And maybe Weaver takes this DC job because, yeah, I don't want to roll out in the same position because it's a slippery slope for coaches. You get, you don't take opportunities to move up, then now the opportunities continue to pass you up because some other younger guy comes along and everyone's looking for the next best thing, the next new thing. Fuck, you Dolphin fans know it more than anybody. Stephen Ross has consistently looked for the new, right? I'm the brand new one. That's what they're looking for. So, well, it is a copycat league, Raf, but also at the same time, everyone wants to be that guy that, oh man, the quarterback coach, second guy for the Lions. That is the guy who really, he's the brainchild. All these other offensive guys that are getting it done and coaching, they're all just working off of this one man's brilliance. Fucking Johnny McFly. He's the dude. He's the guy that really is getting it all done. And that's why us here with the Chicago Bears, we're hiring a guy who never called a play in all of football to be our offensive coordinator and assistant head coach. Like everyone wants to be, they're always overthinking this shit, right? They're always, yeah. Listen to me, the Robert Saleh thing is still on the table. It's just kicked down the road. Saleh's probably, if that offense struggles or what have you, and Saleh has some blunders, where the offense does good, but the defense takes a slow step back, the Jets could fire Saleh, and Weaver could be on his way. And look at that, the Saleh, whatchamacallit, Mike McDaniel reunion tour. So, I don't know. I like the thing that the guy, he used to be a player. I like that, he can relate to the players. I like that he was a defensive lineman too, because there's a lot of things defensive linemen have to do that mean so much to the scheme of the defense. And all the way up and down the line, from where linebackers need to fit the gaps, and you got to hold that gap so that linebacker can, or between pass rush and or staying at home and dropping back into passing lanes, which will force a quarterback to go to his second read on a quick look because of the pass rush, or flush out of the pocket, take a big sack, or take a quick read and throw to his hot route, and meanwhile you've schemed it up for the nickel to come down inside the hot route and pick that ball off. So there's a lot of stuff that is super nitty-gritty from a defensive line that you got to know. You got to know the hows to understand the whys, and there's things that are getting done that are such a bigger part of the play. And so it's good that this guy understands that, knows that, played that, installed it, and has been doing it in some capacity in the NFL as a coach since the jump. But can he be a good play caller? Is he going to be a guy from the sideline? I'm assuming he's not going to be in the booth. Apparently being in the booth is the kiss of death. They don't like people in the booth for whatever reason. They want the coordinators and play callers on the field for some ordeal, whatever. But I would be surprised if he's in the booth, honestly. But I don't know. Is Buddy gonna be good? Is he gonna be good? Is it gonna work out? And if it works out really good, does he stick around? Does he take, another job? The only job he'll leave for is a head coaching job. So you don't make a lateral move unless things go terribly wrong. Then again, I don't know. We just watched Fangio make a lateral move because the Dolphins were going to throw him to the wolves. And Anthony Weaver has got to look at that too. Hey, I got an offensive-minded coach, offensive-minded team. So I better understand that if there's failure amongst the season, I better make sure it's not anything on my end because they're going to feed me to the wolves. I don't know, Bishop. I don't think Ross. I wonder about Ross these days. I mean, is he just that old now that, doesn't really matter? Not that it doesn't matter, but is it like he's just here to do the waddle and watch some games, and that's it. He's too busy in his developmental stuff. He's not the same Ross that bought the team, right? He's not the same guy. I think he's just a little bit older now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more and more of, him being less and less involved. He's going to show up for that media and stuff like that, which is probably for the best. Buddy got us in trouble. I know, crazy Dolphin. What's up, Cap? So hit the like button, everybody. Again, I mean, Anthony Weaver, sweet. I hope, Lord willing, the man is so good that the defense is lights out. And he comes in and brings that hybrid defense, which we kind of ran in the front end anyhow. We're a 3-4 defense that gives a lot of 4-3 looks. We had the personnel to do this. It will probably come in and reinstall that, probably with, some man coverage on the outside with some, in between the bricks zone, right? Having guys play aggressive downhill, a little bit more freedom, that's yet to be seen. I don't know, 72. I don't know if it's just the coaches or if it's not the coaches. I think it's everything, right? I think it's all. And people say it's the players, it's the coaches, it's the organization, it's the front office. I say it's all that, and it's our fault as fans. I blame us. I talk about it all the time. I do. I talk about it all the time. I just went on a whole soliloquy about how we need to stop treating this organization like our spoiled-ass children. Have some damn accountability. I went through a whole dang thing on that. So I blame it all. And until we win a Super Bowl, I will continue to have things to blame. I will. So, yeah, that's it. I just wanted to come up, I went a hell of a lot longer. I was only going to go for like 25 minutes. Damn, it's almost been an hour. Wanted to give my thoughts on the Anthony Weaver hire, and, we'll get into more stuff. Keep a lookout. I'm going to be going into a free agent episode of Dolphins free agents that I think we need to keep on this football team. Don't let them leave. Also, guys, I'm going to be coming out with, some questions about this offense, about this organization. We're also going to be looking into the draft who's coming around. Super Bowl. Going to be doing it all, man. We're going to be talking about it all, and we're going to be doing it all the time. Hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you are new. Also, guys, in the comment sections at the end of the video, what do you guys think of this Anthony Weaver hire? Is he the guy you wanted? Is it a risk? Is it a slam dunk? Give me your thoughts on the pros and cons of Anthony Weaver and why this guy is going to work out or isn't going to work out in the comment sections at the end of the video. Hit the like button. We'll see you guys next time. Fins up.